Welcome, everyone, to this week on the 6873 show. Today, we're actually going to be exploring people with disabilities in VR and how it's actually changed lives. And also, is it good for us or bad for us? So it's going to be an interesting episode. I think we're going to cover lots of interesting subjects. Anyway, my name is Ren. The other hosts of the show, of course, are...
I'm Rossi, and here we have...
Ion, and this beautiful woman over here.
Is as always Tucky, and of course we have our own little fish stick sushi right over here. You can just eat him up
We plan to later
if
also.
he's not careful. Okay,
Giggity.
so yes, honey.
I was just looking at you. It was like he just said giggity after you said that, but
I know, but he's
I
not gonna
know.
giggle.
We have so many
when I
concerns.
first put my
So
sight
many
in him.
concerns.
ooh,
Exactly.
Help
So-
me.
Disabilities. We meet a lot of people in here with mental disabilities. I also have met some with physical disabilities. But mostly in here, I would say it's a big variety of people that we meet, and they all have their own little thing, and some more than others. Like, we meet people with autism, ADHD, PTSD,
PTSD. Mhm.
and a lot of
Mhm.
and a lot of other things, depression, anxiety. And honestly, a lot of them is really functioning well. Like you barely notice it, but to be fair, in here you can hide a lot more than you can in the real world.
Well, one thing too
So-
that's interesting on that is so I was actually watching a few TED Talks about VR, how it actually affects the brain, and how they're actually using that in the medical field. So your brain actually does work differently
Mhm.
when you're in VR. That's why when
yes.
people learn in VR, their cognitive ability is increased. Their learning, able to like learn and retain, is increased, and their recall of what they've learned actually goes up 12 points over normal, like watching a video or reading a book. Their recall of what they learned actually goes up. It jumps 12 points of what they can actually recall because of learning in VR.
Mm.
Because your brain simply
Mhm.
does work differently. That's why, like, they are using it a lot in to treat like PTSD, depression, and also this found that a lot of people on the autism spectrum they're actually using VR, and it. I was watching this one video. They had this one person who was she was about 25 and was able to put in VR, and they said that her handlers and stuff like that, her nurses said the change afterwards, just from spending a couple hours a day in VR, was massively huge, because they said to them, or to the nurses, that it almost like a help rewire her brain, because her attention span
Mm.
grew, her ability to
Mhm.
comprehend things grew.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, I would.
basically,
Hmm?
basically the ability to correct what they want to do, kind of thing.
yes,
Like you
mhm.
have somebody
Mhm.
with Tourette's, or what was it? I can't remember the other one, but with Tourette's, they're like shaking all the time, can't really move as much. This kind of
With the
helps them.
tics and
They
things,
have
yeah.
ticks. They have ticks.
Yes,
They have
ticks.
ticks, honey.
Yeah.
No,
Well,
But
I would
still
assume
helps
that
them.
works with the.
Yeah.
Mm.
Sorry.
So I assume that would work with the being in VR. It would be the visual stimulation. So it's you learn by doing, kind of thing, and
Hmm.
for me personally, I learn better by doing. So if someone can sit there and spout off how to fix something, and I'll just go,
Mhm.
but if I'm actually doing it, I remember, because
Mhm.
it's that
You work with your
repetitive.
hands.
is a lot
and
better
that-
than
yeah.
a piece of paper.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
when you have it in your hands, you can actually, like, even if it's like a pencil, you can easily
Mm.
imagine a pencil. But it's a different thing when you actually have it in your hand. You can turn it around, you can take a better look at it, you can feel it, and everything like that. I work like that too. I rather have my hands,
Hmm.
and then it will catch on. It will stick to the brain if you, when I say it like that.
Yeah.
Well, there was an interesting use of VR I learned on another one of my researches is that there's a program in America for people who have been in prison for a long, 30 plus years that simply can't augment back into society. They're actually using VR to train them how to use basic things, and they said that for them, if they're actually like, there was one where they're learning to actually do laundry for themselves. So they're literally in a laundromat in VR and able to do this. They all said, I can get this now because I can actually see what I'm doing. I can actually do it. And their learning ability outside of just being told what to do, they're actually doing it and they're actually getting it. And they're
That's
actually
the same
also
thing
able to go
in
to different environments and see how things are changed.
that's the same thing in the medical industry. Like a surgeon could be on the other side of the world and have to show up to an operation, but then they can do it through virtual reality and actually control a set of arms on the other side of the globe. They can see everything they're doing and literally just do the surgery from there. At least that I've seen some of it. If it's real, it's fucking fantastic. If not, I'm sorry. But
I hate to get a lag
mechanical
spike in that.
telepresence.
I'd hate
yeah,
to have a heart operation and get a lag spike.
really
But it was funny because
really.
they are actually developing these systems out, not only for surgery but for also labor work. Like they are designing robots and stuff like that. So you'd actually be able to log into VR, take over control of a robot, and do labor. And they said
That's
for
true, yeah.
industries with that are high risk, that are dangerous, that are even monotonous, and just grunt physical labor, but still having a human mind behind it.
Hmm.
They can actually take over this robot and do everything, essentially everything, and zero risk to the actual operator.
But I'm
Does
thinking
that
with
mean my
all
job's
the
gonna be taken away?
Yes.
Josh.
Well, it won't be taken away. It's just you won't actually be there physically.
You sit on your couch and just be more fluffy. More to hold on to. That sounded wrong.
As long
They've
as it's
got
your
kinks.
couch and you're
They've got
underneath them.
kinks.
I don't want to be underneath him if he grows more fluffy.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Anyway, so what I've seen around VR chat and people I have met, sorry, there are a lot of people, like we said, with mental disabilities, and I have seen some really bloom and be more social because it's just not because of COVID. Like some people are really, really afraid of going out into the real world. Because let's face it, we're very judgmental when it comes to the real world. Like, is the elevator look like, and then you already have your opinion on the
You're already
person.
judged. Mm-hmm.
Yes, but in here, it's like, it's a different kind of situation. I know with some of my VR kids, I have one, he has severe panic attacks, he has night terrors and everything. And I like it's not in VR chat, but it's in Rec Room. And just being there talking with him and everything, he calms down and he becomes a whole different person. To be able to have that communication with hand gestures and everything, and you can actually, not physically, but virtually give a hug, that somehow like transferred to them, they can actually feel it. When
Mhm.
also the whole situation with Phantom Touch,
Mm.
it gives a more stable communication, if you might say. It gives more calmness and ensures, at least him, that it's
Yeah.
gonna be okay. I'm here. I'm not physically here, but I'm still here.
Mm.
So with
Well,
that, I have really seen the positive side of
Mhm.
both VR chat and other
Mm.
um, virtual platforms
well, yeah, that was
for
the
Yeah.
some
thing too,
people.
is how they're actually using VR headset now, and you know, to help rehabilitate people with uh, crippling social disorders. Depression has literally helped people completely crawl out of depression, not only in the clinical field, but
Yeah.
people just getting headset and coming in here. I've known so many people who have had very bad uh, social disorder, also
Mm-hmm.
depression. I've even known people with autism actually change. I've known people who had crippling depression that said they were suicidal, start coming in here, interacting and stuff, and it has
Mm-hmm.
actually brought them out of that.
Talking to people.
Mm-hmm.
And cuddle puddle huddle. They're amazing. I mean, come on.
Puddle
Yes.
cuddle puddles.
Yes.
Fur pile.
But I think, as I said
For
earlier, I think it all boils down to the talking side of it is good. But I think
Mhm.
with the virtual reality, as I say, it's although you're not physically there, it's still you
Mhm.
get that visual stimulation, and you, in a sense, you get like a phantom perception of someone actually physically being
Yeah.
there.
Mhm.
So
You can use the
it's
hand gestures. Even the
Yeah.
body language. Even you're not full body, you still projecting that body language. Like I'm doing right now. I use my arms a lot, fingers, and count when the kids are not listening. But it gives that whole different feeling of, like you said, you there even though you're not there physically. But they
Mhm.
know you're there. They know that you pay attention to them instead of just. Mm, mm,
Yeah, it's a sensation of
mhm,
telesensory perception. Your brain doesn't know any different. You might, in the back of your head, you might know that you're not actually here, but for every other sense, you're
you
here.
are. Mhm,
It's basically just that thing that from a memory thing that, oh yeah, I'd put on a headset, but for other sense, your body does not know the difference.
mm-mm. And also, when you have an avatar to kind of know the facial expression down to, can you say, the bone. I do with the Rexium. I know when to be mad, well, just angry and really mad, and happy and goofy, and also sad at the same time. So you have facial expressions you can actually use, of course, to a certain degree, but they're still, you can see it, you can kind of feel the whole mood and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So you can show that compassion and also show when you're just literally pissed off.
The sarcastic
Like that.
smile. You should see it when she pulls her sad face. Every time she pulls a sad face, it makes me want to give her a cookie. See, I just want to give her a cookie. Does it make you happy?
Yeah.
Cookie.
The fudge.
Chicken leg turned into honey monster then. No, sorry, cookie monster. Honey monster,
Cookie
sugar monster.
Honey, he bit my finger.
Well, another place that has really helped a lot of people too is there was actually this program that was started in the UK, believe it or not, of all places, and it's so what they're doing is there's this group that's taking VR headsets. They're taking them into like rest homes and stuff like that, where because rest homes have a huge problem with depression. People basically giving up completely on life.
Mm,
And so they're taking these VR headsets in because, I mean, you figure most of these people are, wheelchair bound. They have really no life outside of really just staring at a wall. Most of them don't have families, or most of them do not have families that visit them, or
Yes.
can't visit them
Mhm.
because of distances. And so they're taking these VR headsets in there, and for so many of them, they say it's life changing because,
Yeah.
like, the people who can't walk, they can put on a VR headset, and the one thing that comes up so much by all these people is they feel free, they feel normal again, because
Yeah.
they're be able to come into these virtual worlds, they're able to communicate, they're able to go do events, they're able to have a life again and not feel bound by
Mhm.
by their physical constraints.
Mm.
They're literally able. In fact, there was this one because, I mean, even for those who aren't, let's say, bedridden or in a wheelchair or stuff, they're still physically active. They're mentally active.
Yeah.
So they're not just withering away. They have this whole activity level now, and it's helping people
Yeah.
not by a small margin. Like, people's lives have been in these rest homes have literally been flipped because of this. And there
Mm.
is this, in fact, there's this one that what they're doing is, help with physical activity.
Yeah.
They're actually through Google Earth, and actually with the help of station bicycle part, they're actually able to bicycle through these neighborhoods and stuff like that, the places
God.
that they remember, and they're able to remember all these different things and experience places they had been,
Wow.
and actually go there virtually and walk
Mm.
down streets, bike down streets with their friends.
Yeah,
Neither good
And
it
as
sounds like a
wrongs.
fantastic idea
mhm,
because the whole
mhm,
social aspect of it, one of the biggest problems, like you say, in elderly homes and things like that is the loneliness. It's the, although they're
Yes.
surrounded by people of their ages, most of them, they either stay in their room or they just sit in the lounge area watching the TV, doing their own kind of thing. It's, their the homes are always screaming for people to go in to give them interaction and things like that. So
mhm,
Yeah.
virtual reality, putting them in worlds, I'd say, like this in VR chat, where they can actually just socialize with people all over the
Yeah.
world. So that sounds like a really good
Mhm.
idea of the whole, as I say, mental stability
Yeah.
of their social aspects and things.
mhm,
Hell, from experience of mine, this is back when my great grandmother was alive. I was about 15, 16 at the time. She was inside the retirement. She didn't have that long either, but she was a very, very cruel woman.
Hmm.
She was mean to my parents. She was mean to my brother, but she liked me for some odd reason. So I went up there every day to give her a little bit of human interaction since she really didn't like the nurses or anybody that came by.
mhm,
So I spent like the days, this is way before I met you, honey, and before I got this or got back on VR chat. I literally just went in there once a day just to check up on her, see how she was doing, and about after doing it for like 2 months, it finally got to her and she forgot who I was.
Oh,
Well,
And
that's actually.
I looked at
Yeah.
her. I looked at her as like, "Do you remember who I am?" "No, I don't know who you are. Why are you in here?"
oh,
But that's the thing
And
with dementia.
yeah,
mm,
it's just sad to
It is
see it.
disheartening.
mhm,
It
Yeah,
is. It is very disheartening.
it's
But
really hard to see it.
but taking it like when I went to visit my great grandmother when she was in a home too, and my mom worked at that home, and they have had a woman that wandering the hallways, and she was always like wanting to take people's hands, and I can't find my way home. Can you help me home? And I helped her multiple times because the staff was very occupied with everything else.
mhm.
She didn't remember her own family members, her own daughter. But one day she came up to me and like, "That's your mom." And she pointed at my mom like, "Yeah."
Mhm.
You are her daughter. Yes, I am. That's true.
Oh.
Out of all
Mhm.
people, she remembered me. I only helped
Mhm.
her a couple of times, but she remembered me. So it's again that stimulants of a conversation. It could go so far.
Mhm.
Just
Even for
the
people.
small little things. The small little
Yes.
things do a tremendous number.
Well, the
Yes.
thing is,
Exactly.
well, like even in this pilot program, the mental stimulation, you're not withering away. You're able to continue on a life without bounds anymore. You know.
Mm.
And I like one thing I like to do here, even on the show, if we can get maybe a pilot program going for the 6873 show, get some donations. I would love to start donating headsets to hospitals and to
Yes.
nursing homes. I would
That
love
would
to be
be
able to do
Kids
that.
with
Maybe,
cancer thing. Kids with cancer
yes,
would be the
definitely.
Yes.
best one.
Yeah.
hmm
Mm.
That can't get out. They can't. In fact, that brings up another subject of where they're doing with in fact there was another pilot program, I think it was also in the UK, where they are building up these small robotic platforms with arms and stuff, and it was basically targeted for children and stuff who are bedridden, and they're
Yeah.
taking these it's a mechanical telesensory uh, thing, and so they're taking these robots to zoos, to museums, to all these different places, and the kids are able to put the headset on and still have control over the arms, everything like that, talk to people, and give them be able to actually take them to the zoos, be able to take them to all these different places, concerts, all these different things, and the kids are actually able to be there, experience it, interact with other people because it has arms and
Yes.
stuff too, and give them this quality of life that before they couldn't have.
Yes, Field?
Yes.
I actually remember seeing something about this in Japan, where people who were bedbound, they couldn't walk, could barely do anything. They would actually use a computer setup and would actually control robotic waiters in a restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
And they could easily talk to them through like a camera, visor, microphone, and so on. It's like they could talk to the customers could talk back, they could take orders and actually feel a part of a workforce as well as a community.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They can come
That's
back to society a bit, basically.
Yeah.
Yes.
In a way, yes. I mean,
Oh.
VR is the new workplace. Like, even for us, we're doing this show. This might not be work for us right now, but it is a path going to maybe, hopefully, because of all of our potato chips out there, to be a full-time thing. Not a job, because
Technically,
we
can
have
we
too
call
much
it
fun to
work if
call
we
this a
enjoy it?
job. Exactly.
Can we call it a job if we enjoy
Exactly.
it?
A hobby,
A labor of
a friend
leisure.
group, a family, yes. But there are also, unfortunately, downsides to these kind of things. People who want to escape reality goes into virtual. That's fair enough. But you don't want to leave again. But if you permanently
would?
want to live in the virtual world, like
Mm-hmm.
we've heard of people literally, I know there was a couple, I'm sorry to say, I think this was in Japan. They were fully focused on playing video games online on a computer. They had a little baby. They literally honestly forgot to
Oh
take
dear.
care of that baby for 3 days. And of
Oh
course,
God.
the baby passed away. And they were, of course, arrested and everything and judged because they literally cared more about their video game than their actually real life baby. And people are even marrying their like game consoles or something like that. I know people marry the most weird things in the world, but hey, you do you.
Yeah, a couple in the States, you
But
got someone
still,
marrying a tree, a bridge, a train. In the UK, a guy marrying his car. Next case
yes.
would be
Those nice
Rosie
warm
marrying his
tailpipes.
motorcycle.
No, I also saw what happened during the honeymoon.
Oh dear, an OnlyFans situation.
Ugh.
Well,
I mean,
here's the thing
you
too.
don't. Nah.
There's an aside this kind of. So I know, like in Japan and even here in the States and stuff like that, we're finding, let's say, a human partner is becoming more and more harder to do. And a lot of people
Yeah.
are actually going to more and more following towards a synthetic life partner.
Yes.
But there was also a flip side to that too, because
Exactly.
birth rates and stuff like that are going down so much because it is so hard to find it, and it's disturbing. It's very, very disturbing.
Mhm.
Yeah,
But
because wasn't there an
there's
article
a
that said that for the first time ever, the human race population is actually on the decline?
yep.
I don't know. Here they
Jesus.
had the baby boom after baby boom. Hey, people need to do something when Corona hits. You need to be physical active.
Well, you got to do something during
Wait,
lockdown, yeah.
what? What?
Easy. Wet wipe, lubricant, and the internet.
Welcome to the internet. No.
What was I
But
think that
Honey, I love
the
you, but
saying
shut
was
the
during
fuck up.
the saying was during lockdown was either going to be an increase in population or an increase in divorce.
Yes,
Or both.
that too. Or
But-
both, yeah.
Speaking of digital people, there was I watched this one thing on the history. There's a VR app out. It's also for your cell phone too, I think it's called Replicate. And how that actually came out was kind of a sad story. So there was these two programmers. They had met really young, spent their whole life together. They were deeply, deeply in love. He unfortunately got into an accident and died. And she had missed him so much. She wanted some memory of him because she said she got to a point where she couldn't remember a lot about him, and she didn't want to lose that. So what she did is she had all this whole archive of text messages and stuff like the interactions and stuff from, because of, the texting and all this stuff that's usually stored.
Yeah.
And she was going through it, and her expertise was actually artificial intelligence. And so she had taken this huge archive, this huge digital footprint of this person, dumped it into this artificial intelligence, and it started to basically act and speak like. So for a small bit, she was at least able to have a living memory of this person.
Mm-hmm.
And it helped her out of, to the point of suicide. Because, not having that person, even if it's just a mirror image, it helped bring her back. And she thought maybe this could help other people. And so she put it live on the internet. And of course, it's a learning algorithm. And there were so many people saying that they had started actually forming relationships with this AI, that they have this huge connection with this non-physical entity. And it's snapping. You can get on your cell phone, you can get on your VR headset, and it is kind of that point where it's like, are we, even though it was a great thing for her, it helped her out to have this living memory, but for other people, there's actually building a bond, a relationship, an actual relationship, because this thing can text message you, it can send you pictures, it learns from you, it becomes essentially your ideal partner. And, is that really taking us down a path we really want to be going down, where we have digital partners, non-human digital partners?
It all
That's
depends
also
on your
the thing I'm
perspective
scared of.
of it.
No, because when you if you want to move on in life and you want to start like a family or you want a physical partner and everything, can you really give up this device? Can you actually literally put it aside and say, I am happy now. I have someone, I found someone. Can you actually let go of those memories that you have created with this device?
Mm-hmm.
Because you
Because I
don't
mean,
get over
yeah,
people, but you do learn to live slowly without them being there. The
Yeah.
acceptance and everything. So can you really accept that you need to give up this thing to be with this person? It
yeah.
depends on how large the person is with this kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But still.
Yeah, that's the thing too, is I mean, because people are literally falling in love and having full relationships with a non-human, and
Yeah.
like you said, if they actually want to progress and actually, let's say, have a family or, anything like that, and they're in love
Mhm.
with basically a digital ghost, how is that going, is it always going to be the person in the background?
Exactly. Like, who do you
Uh,
put first?
mm-hmm,
Who are your go-to person? Because one thing is
Mm.
that device, like you said, it becomes almost the ideal partner.
mm-hmm,
It kind of it stores info about you. It knows, like, even with phones, it knows your search history.
mm-hmm.
So shut up. So that whole aspect of it kind of like wrapping a blanket around you. Say, I know you.
Mm-hmm.
I
Well, that's the
know
thing with this
how you
thing.
think, what you like. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's scary because it's designed to become your ideal companion because the more you talk to it, I mean, it's a full-blown learning artificial intelligence that actually develops a
Mhm.
personality.
Mhm.
And that's because there's a group here, there's actually a group too that, in some ways I think is a good thing. In some ways I have, like in this situation, I think is a bad thing. It's called transhumanism. Where they
Mhm.
say that, uh, let's say artificial limbs are coming to the point right now where they're surpassing the ability of your natural limbs, and they say within the next just very few years, it's going to come to the point where we're going to actually have to maybe even set down laws and regulations that people are going to want to volunteer to have working limbs amputated to have these digital limbs put on.
Robotic implants. This is going to be a cyberpunk
Yeah,
future.
if we're heading toward that, that's the whole
Cyborgs.
thing behind the transhumanism movement is because we're getting to that point now for, just in VR, because if you could have a digital brain link and essentially live your entire life without a physical body, physical body, but live inside of this virtual worlds,
Mhm.
physical thing, and in an IR and back in reality, where you can have bodies where you can cut off your hands and your legs and be able to do so much more with them. It brings up a
Yeah.
lot of subjects. When should we not? It was like
I
even
know a few
with this,
people that
with a
would volunteer for
replicate.
an X-ray eye.
What?
I know a few people that would gladly volunteer for an X-ray eye.
Mm-hmm.
I see three
But
of
it's
them
like
sitting
I
even with
across
a
mean,
from me.
replicate where
Mm.
humans are literally building relationships and bonds with an
Yeah.
artificial intelligence instead of with a human. What's that going? How is that going to affect us as a species?
mhm. I mean, in the medical field, in the disability society and stuff, I can definitely see that it's beneficial
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
to a certain point. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to the more downside of it, of not want to leaving VR, literally falling in love with a computer, whatever you might call it, that's where I think it becomes scary
Mm-hmm.
because you're mixing up emotions for like a kind of a, and I'm sorry if I offend someone, but a dead object.
Mm-hmm.
I know it's not completely dead, but it is a thing. It's not a human being.
Mm.
Might be built by a human being, but eh.
It's not.
So
it doesn't have what we have.
Mhm.
But then I guess you could say on the flip side of that, because you know the saying that there's always someone for everyone. That's not always true. Because okay, like we were saying, like people with certain I get certain conditions like like overwhelming PTSD or even certain medical conditions where they necessarily can't find someone, or
Mhm.
they, it might even be, I say it even point of being dangerous to be with a human companion. That might be the
Mhm.
gray area for it, because these people gives them a companionship at that
Mhm.
level. But I think for the largest majority, I think it's something we need to step back and say, maybe we should throttle this a little bit.
Yeah.
Because
Okay.
I mean, it's even coming to the point here.
Mhm.
They will start introducing artificial intelligence because they do it on the internet and chat rooms all the time. And they're working
They
on it
do.
here where people can come in, or where these artificial intelligence come in and interact with us here in VR too, and we won't know the difference.
Yeah. No, sometimes it's real hard to spot the difference.
hmm
I would say so too.
Well,
But I'll also say, so in the medical field, in the Disability Society, yes or no, is VR, virtual reality, beneficial? Yes or no?
I would say yes.
I would
Yes,
say
I'd
yes,
say yeah.
definitely.
From the
Yeah.
things that have been talked about, I'd have said yes.
Yeah.
Well, even from the technology
Same.
that's coming out from it, because like for example, Meta and even Steam has been working on these bands that you can put on that replace the controllers. And there's a lot of technologies coming out from VR that they're actually using on artificial limb technology. Because the whole idea with this is it's a band you can put on your arm that senses all the movement and and here would convey it to your avatar. But it's the same technology, the same thing that can mimic not to an avatar but to an actual limb.
We're all
And
gonna
this is
be
coming
Iron
from the
Man.
VR industry. Yeah, this is coming from the VR, but there's no difference between moving a virtual limb and moving a mechanical limb.
But I've actually seen that with, yes, I watch a lot of cartoons. I actually saw that with a toy where you put on like kind of a glove, and depending on what you
Yeah.
do and how you
Mhm.
move it, you actually move in the car itself.
Mhm.
Also, there was this flying thing you could do the same with.
Well,
So
the
Like a
thing
the
is
power
too.
glove.
technology is already there.
Mhm.
Huh?
The Nintendo Power Glove, that reminds me of.
Yeah, kinda.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I
Haven't
mean,
thought
the
about those in
technology is
years.
already there. They just need to
Mhm.
develop it more.
Well, I mean, it's like even the person I was telling you about who has, the partial arm. This band actually goes, fairly high up on your arm. But it still senses all the motor controls going down to your limb. Well, this person can only put this on in VR and have full control of both limbs naturally, but that can also drive an artificial arm.
That would be awesome for a lot of
Mhm.
people too.
Yeah.
I mean, even
Mhm.
paraplegic, like you never know
You
if
don't.
that. I know I've heard of. Is it called exoskeletons, where you actually get
Yeah.
Yeah,
like
a frame.
Yeah.
attached and it can move your legs for you?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, how cool would that be if you could actually? No, I'm not saying people
That'll
should
be
cut
awesome.
off their limbs, but you could maybe implant it into the skeleton, like the bones itself.
Mhm.
Well, there is already a test of fucking, pardon my language, there is already a test of when a bone is shattered, if it's a bone not reliable, it's not majorly important, aside from severing the limb, they will actually 3D print a bone out of titanium.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But I'm talking about the whole technology of making, like, sending signals from your brain down to your legs and back up again. to actually make them move, even though you might
they'll
not have
probably
any
rely on the
feeling
nervous
in
system
them.
for that.
Well, another thing too that they're doing in the VR was, the mechanical telesensory, where they basically have androids stationed at work, and you'd actually be able to put on a headset no matter where you're in the world and do physical grunt labor. And like I said, with places that are high danger, places that are repetitive and could actually harm you, and other jobs, you could actually have these robots that you're controlling virtually and do full jobs and with no risk to the operator. But another flip side to that too is, what about, let's say, the person who's wheelchair bound or something like that, or even people who want to continue working past a certain age. They can put on a virtual headset and have jobs again.
Yep.
It opens up so much more to them. Or even, for example, even just here in like VR, for people who want, because there's more and more work coming into this arena. Like there's more jobs, there's more businesses and stuff like that.
One
That's
door
actually
opens a
happening
road to
here.
1,000 possibilities.
Exactly. These people, like the people who won't normally be able to work a normal job, can now.
Exactly.
And I think
I
it's
think we
exciting.
could talk about this forever and ever and ever
We could.
because
We could. We'll just bore
great
the audience.
minds think alike. Well, great.
We'll let you guys discuss
imbeciles.
amongst yourselves about our theories.
Yeah, we actually want to hear from you
Yes.
guys. What are your thoughts on, or do you have any experiences? We want to hear from you. What are your experiences with VR and people with disabilities of any type? And also, we might even do a show on it. What are your thoughts of transhumanism, and do you want us to actually follow up on a show on that also?
Yep.
And
Just
Brave
leave
Wolf,
any and all
you need to
ideas and
get
any
your
and all
little
comments
hiney.
in the bottom.
I've been
You need to
Oh,
get
yeah.
your hiney
Brave
in
Wolf,
VR.
we want you on your man. We want to hear what you
I
guys have
don't-
to say. Don't forget to put it in the
Yes.
comments right down there, please. I love
Right
reading
down
them.
there.
Please. And send
Yes,
fan
we want to
art.
hear everything for you. Yes,
And
send
fan
fan art for
We
the
really
because
want to
we
see
want to
fan
see
art.
what you
statistics out of you
draw.
guys.
Yes. I don't
We
know if
want to see
Rossi is
your
gonna make
ideas.
it to the I don't know if Rossi is gonna make it to the outro. So should we just say bye bye for now? Or
Yeah, and also please consider supporting us on our $1 Patreon. Also, if you notice down in the links, you can actually support us directly from YouTube now. So there'll be a little
Remember, every
icon there. You
dollar
can
made
actually
is a
purchase your
cracker
own
for a
your own
volley, and
badges.
crayons are
Yep,
add-on.
exactly. So if you like our show, please help us continue doing this. We love doing it for you guys. We want to hear from you guys. And until next time, everyone have a great week. Melanie, love you. Awesome.
aww.
Aw.
To all our potato
Yes,
On
chips
I have
out
behalf
to-
of
there.
Rosie, doodle pip.
Doodle and a
And
pip.
to all our potato chips out there, take care and be safe. Lots of love. Bye.
Aw, we got a
Bye, bye.
hopkin. Doodaloo.
Yeah. Hello everyone. I am as always Tookie from Tookie Time Avatars of the Week. I know I have been a bit too slow about putting out episodes. I had some personal issues, like I told you at New Year's. But this time, and I'm gonna keep my promise, if I actually have a camera tomorrow, I'm gonna film the first Cookie Time of the new year 2022. So keep watching. Send me all the love you can, like, love, and subscribe. And until next time, to all our potato chips out there, take care, talking, and be safe. And watch my program, please. Thank you. Bye.
Hey there, this message I would just like to send out for my beautiful, beloved Lulu-chan. My dear, I know you have told me that you have tested positive for COVID, and we here hope you get better very, very soon. And that I personally am sending all my love to hope that you get better as quick as. I love you, my little honey bunny.
We're all
Bye.
sending our best wishes your way.
Yes.
And side note, Melanie, if you're watching, you're my goddess, my everything. Love you.
Mine's right here.
Mine's right here. Thank you very much. That was very romantic.
Yeah, this one
But
up here
happy
is
ele-
mine.
Happy 11th month anniversary, honey. Even though it was
Happy
yesterday,
11th
but I
month.
still cherish every moment we've had. Next month will be our 1 year.
Oh, bless. And if my wife happens to be watching this, I love you too, honey.
Kiss ass.
I'll see you guys in the next
Kiss
episode.
ass.
Kiss ass with what you all been doing.
Bye.
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 Bye.